Hey, good morning. I'm Patricia Murphy. It's Thursday. This is Seattle Now. There are a lot of opportunities to see art around the Seattle area this weekend. You can check out the Seattle Art Fair, the Bellevue Art Fair, and the brand new Assembly Art Fair, just to name a few. In a minute, KUOW's Jeannie Yandel is here to talk about the role of art fairs and how to enjoy them. But first, let's get you caught up. Before we dive into the art fair, here's a couple of other things going on this weekend. Bite of Seattle starts tomorrow. The 3-day free event at Seattle Center has been going on for more than 40 years. Organizers promise more than 300 food and retail vendors and performances from local musicians. And tomorrow is the first night of Pike Place Market's new After Dark Fridays. The event starts well before dark at 3 p.m. with an art walk and live music. If you miss it this time around, don't fret. It'll return every fourth Friday through October. The state has set a new record for the amount of money it paid out in lawsuits over alleged government misconduct. The Washington State Standard reports a total of $537 million was paid out during the fiscal year that ended in June. Nearly three-quarters of the money went to settlements involving the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. Many of the lawsuits date back to incidents from before the 2000s. The Standard reports the record payouts are worsening a multi-billion-dollar state budget shortfall. And here's a sweet update on a story we had on the show recently. Woodland Park Zoo's baby gorillas now have names. The baby boys are Kadre and Oku. Both names have African roots. Kadre means helper and supporter in the Mandinka language, and Oku is the name of a mountain in Central Africa. Oku was born by emergency C-section in May, and both babies have been cared for by the other's mom. We're back with more headlines on tonight's episode of Seattle Now. This weekend marks the 10th annual Seattle Art Fair. Lumen Field Events Center will be packed with art dealers, gallerists, buyers, and art enthusiasts. This year also marks the first Assembly Art Fair. It's a new art fair hosted by several Seattle galleries at the same time across town. We'll get into what the Seattle Art Fair is and why there's a new art fair in town with KUOW's Jeannie Yandel. She's a special projects editor and host of the Meet Me Here podcast. Jeannie, thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, good to see you. So let's start with the story of the Seattle Art Fair. Why does Seattle have one?
The short answer is Paul Allen.
Oh.
So 11 or so years ago, Paul Allen decided to fund the kind of art fair that you see in big cities all around the world, right? Some of the most well-known are like the Biennale in Venice or like Art Basel in Switzerland. So this is a place where artists and gallerists from all over the world can come together for kind of like a trade show. They get booths, they display art from artists that they represent, and interested buyers can come and have kind of a distilled experience in choosing what they might like to buy, artists that they might want to get to know better, galleries they might want to get to know better. It's a big space and every corner is filled. And so over the last 10 years, this is an art fair that's grown. It is organized by a creative events firm called AMP that runs art fairs in different cities around the country, including San Francisco and Atlanta. It's like this semi-secret event. If you're not already in the know that this thing happens, you probably don't hear about it that often. But for people who want to buy art, for people like me who just really like to look at art, but, you know, don't have a big budget for buying art, I'm trying to keep that diplomatic. You know, it can be a really fun experience.
All right, well, let's clue people in on the secret a little bit. What can people expect to see at the art fair? And I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty cheap. I don't have a ton of money. What can I expect to be paying if I would like to purchase some of this art?
The amount you could pay really, really, really varies, right? Like there are pieces there that, you know, are $800 and they're from local galleries and you could set up a payment plan, right? There are also pieces that are going to cost tens of thousands of dollars. So it really runs the gamut. For people like us, what we can expect is to see a whole lot of stuff in a single space. But what's cool is there are also these so-called public projects that are just kind of hanging in the hall that anybody can check out and spend time with, right? So it's not just for people who might want to buy stuff. It's for like everybody to spend time with. There are also some talks and some other events that really anybody can attend. There's kind of a cool talk about like how to make it as an artist in Seattle, which I just find really interesting.
Big question, too.
Yeah, it's like a big question we've been asking for more than a decade at this point. So, there's kind of something for everybody here.
You mentioned some talks, one of which is how to make it as an artist.
Yeah.
Is it hard to be an artist or an art seller in Seattle right now?
I don't know if it's ever been easy, right? I mean, I think we can all look back at like the artifacts of the 80s, like we can watch singles or whatever and reminisce about how cheap and great it was here. But certainly since the pandemic, it's been hard, right? I mean, like local galleries, local artists depend on people coming in person and seeing the stuff and like engaging with the stuff. And we spent a long time not leaving our houses. And so getting that space and that understanding again that like these places are for us. They are for the people who live here. They are for the public. Like we can go in is really challenging.
So I guess in that way, this distilled experience is an opportunity to get a lot of art and a lot of galleries in one space so that if you're interested, it's a good launching point.
Heck yeah. I mean, if you're a buyer, like this is kind of an efficient way to spend a weekend,
Yeah. There's also another art fair happening in Seattle this weekend. We mentioned up at the top there, the Assembly Art Fair. Tell me about that and its relationship to the Seattle Art Fair.
Yeah, so this is really interesting. For the first time ever, we've got some local gallery owners setting up kind of a satellite art fair, right? So the big Seattle Art Fair happens in this big old event center. And then Assembly Art Fair happens in Queen Anne at the West Yards, which is a smaller space. There's probably a few more than a dozen galleries and artists showing there. And this is no shade to AMF at all. But even though Seattle Art Fair depends heavily on our local gallery scene, it's not a locally created art fair. Assembly is, right? And I'd also be remiss if I didn't mention that tickets for Assembly are a lot cheaper. It's also worth mentioning that this weekend, Bellevue has its own art fair. So this is kind of a neighborhood experience. It's spread out in different spaces throughout Bellevue. It started as like a community fair back in the 70s, and it's sort of morphed and grown since then. That's a free experience. And the goal there is to get people into the neighborhood and walking around and visiting different places. It's kind of like an art walk combined with an art fair.
Yeah, well, that's a great option if you don't want to spend anything, and you can even take the 2 line there.
Yeah,
now.
Right.
Fantastic. Well, I want to go back to the Assembly Art Fair for a second. What does it say that enough galleries felt the need to splinter off and go rogue with their own fair?
Ooh, well, I find it interesting that you used the word splinter and rogue. Seattle Art Fair's messaging around Assembly is, yay, welcome to the party, the more the merrier. Nobody wants to create some kind of competition or beef between these two things. But the fact of the matter is, it can be really expensive for gallery owners to get a booth at Seattle Art Fair. And even though the goal of any art fair is to make sure that gallery owners and artists are selling stuff and making money, if you don't sell enough or make enough, then it's a really expensive proposition to be at Seattle Art Fair, especially in terms of time. Like there is a lot of prep involved for gallery owners and artists to be able to participate in Seattle Art Fair, right? Having a satellite art fair that is less expensive to participate in might feel like less labor intensive and potentially less risky. The other way of looking at it is if you are a buyer, if you're somebody coming in from a different place, why wouldn't you want to see more than one art fair? Why wouldn't you want to have a more diversified experience than in a single big events hall? So there's something appealing, I think, for the audience for these things to be able to do more than one fair, to be able to say, wow, I really got a sense of what's going on in Seattle.
If the Seattle Art Fair is for art sellers and art buyers, why might someone not in either category go?
Like me. Yeah. I'm going because I love the experience of going somewhere and not really knowing what to expect. And that's what I know with Seattle Art Fair. I mean, I know it's going to be crowded. I'm probably not going to wear the right shoes. I'm going to need water. I know all of those things. But what I don't really know is what art I'm going to encounter and how I'm going to experience that art. And that's really exciting to me. I also know that at least one of the big public pieces that's hanging is by an artist from Port Townsend who I really love. Her name's Tanina Silva, and she makes these incredible pieces inspired by low tide on the beach where she lives in Port Townsend. And, sometimes they look like gigantic shells. Sometimes they look like the skeletons of mythical sea creatures. Sometimes it looks like pieces from a mystical kelp forest of some kind. And so she's going to have this big hanging installation piece that I get to walk through.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's help our listeners out. All of these art fairs seem potentially filled with an overwhelming amount of art. So any suggestions on how to approach going to one of them?
Any way you choose to engage with this is the right way to do it. And if that means you go in, you see 3 booths and you're like, I'm tired, I want to go home, that's the right move. That's what you should do. I will quote Leilani Lewis, an arts writer here in town, because I think she has a brilliant, brilliant way to approach this. Her idea is to go to the Seattle Art Fair website, check out some of the artists who are going to be there, check out some of the galleries, and make a bingo card.
Ooh.
Like, give yourself, 9 or 12 things that you want to see. Like, I want to see a shoe used as a not shoe. I want to see a thing that's normally small blown up into a huge thing. Come up with whatever you want. I want to see something in 8 shades of pink. And then mark it on your bingo card when you see it. And then when you're done, you can decide whether you want to continue to hang out or whether you want to bail.
Great idea. Great idea. All right. And it's going to be a beautiful weekend.
Yes.
All right. Good time to get out and see some art.
Or go inside and see some art in the case of Seattle Art Fair.
KUOW Special Project Editor and Meet Me Here host Jeannie Yandel. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for listening to Seattle Now. Take a moment, rate and review the show in your podcast app. And before we go, a quick question. We're asking our listeners this week, have you changed how you eat because of the Cyclospora outbreak? Tell us how. Share your answer in the KUOW app. Just open the menu and select Talk to Us. More at KUOW.org/question. Today's episode was produced by Brooklyn Jamerson Flowers. It was edited by Vaughn Jones. Our production team also includes Caroline Chamberlain Gomez, Andy Hurst, Anna Marie Yanni, and Paige Browning. Greg Kramer does our theme music. Seattle Now and KUOW Public Radio are members of the NPR network. I'm Patricia Murphy. Talk to you tonight for Evening Headlines.